we get into these fairy tale mentalities sometimes of thinking that, I don't know, once Cinderella puts on the shoe and runs away with Prince Charming,
Right. It's happily
every
ever after. Yeah.
it's happily ever after.
Right.
Disney has corrupted us.
Absolutely.
Like, stop it. Like, there are levels to this. And honestly, we need to normalize the levels, and we need to normalize the communication through the levels. We need to normalize fighting through issues. And that's where you get the 30-year marriages, where
Mhm.
you hit a roadblock, you talk about it, you work through it. And then, after the hardship comes the ease. You
Mhm.
experience that ease. Then you hit another roadblock and it's like, but you talk about it. The fact that you can communicate with the person that you've chosen, that is your sign that you've chosen the right one.
All right. Welcome to Noble Nasheed. I'm your host, Nasheed Jackson, and we have,
Co-host Noble.
a co-host, Noble Solace. All right. So I think last series we did was excellent. We got people through the courting stage. And I think honestly, part three was the best for me. I think we covered a lot of points on being transparent. You know, transparency is key, right?
Right.
All right.
Always.
Yeah. So I think for that part three, I think we really hit it. What we're going to do now is get into the marriage. We're going to get into the marriage. Okay, so when you get into the marriage, the honeymoon stage is wonderful. Like I don't think nobody needs help through the honeymoon stage. It's like you go off emotions, you go off feelings, you go off. This is new for you. You know what I mean? So you are. I don't think you need help with that. You are because you're into that person. That person is into you. But
Well, you should be.
well, yeah, you should be.
Should be.
You should be. So you think? Hold on, wait. Why you said that? Why did you say
It just, because as you were saying that, it just made me think of, I think a lot of times we might put ourselves in marriages where the honeymoon phase ends up being riddled with like panic, like, oh, I'm here now. Now what do I do? And I don't know what to do next. And I kind of fumbled my way into the beginning, or I rushed into it, and now I got to kind of figure out how to deal with this person,
I
and
didn't ask the right
so,
questions.
right, I didn't ask the right questions. So I just wanted to say it should be, if you did it right. If you did it right, this should be the moment that, or this should be the weeks, or maybe a couple of months that you can live on that cloud nine. You don't have to come down. You don't have to really face the music to anything really serious yet. And you're just living off of love. And so if you do it right, yes, the honeymoon phase should definitely be
Shit,
that for you.
I don't know. It just making me seem like if you do it right. Wait a minute, like I'm missing something.
Because
I
what
mean,
we're talking about,
right?
you
We
have to,
okay.
yeah, what we're talking about here is we have to discuss both paths. If you're in the honey, what happens when you do it right and what happens when you do it
Do
wrong?
it
Because
wrong.
a lot of the questions that we get are clarifying questions.
Mhm.
Like, when a couple of the comments that I know we received was, well, well, men know how to treat women because we're told all the time, but
Mhm.
women don't know how to treat men because nobody's
Mhm.
really telling them what to do.
Right, right,
So
right.
we need that balance. So when we make statements, I'm always up for the challenge of giving both sides, of
Mhm.
saying the honeymoon phase is supposed to be like this, but if it's not like this and it's like that, that means you kind of went down the wrong path from
All
the
right. So
beginning.
okay, I guess what I'm looking at is the correction because if I did something wrong, can I correct it? You know what I'm saying? Like, is there a point where, okay, oh boy, wait, I messed up. I need to correct this, or is it just too late?
It's never too late. I want I we have to get that out of our heads. Like, there's never too late. It's never too late.
Okay.
We're never locked in. This is not like eternal slavery. It's not. it's never too late. You're never really locked into a scenario to where you have to think, oh my God, there's nothing I can do, and start panicking. Because when you start thinking of it's too late, that's when the anxiety, the hopelessness, the helplessness, and all that sets in. We got to get out of that mentality. But what we do have to say is, I made a commitment, and if I have walked too far down a path to where this commitment is here, I'm going to honor my commitment, but I also have to bring up the truth of what's happening. You know, be transparent with the truth of what's happening. I'm in my honeymoon phase. I'm supposed to be on cloud nine, and I feel like something's wrong. Why do you feel like something's wrong? Well, I feel like something's wrong because I'm nervous about this, or I have anxieties about that, or she stopped paying me enough attention here that you have to start communicating, you know? Or I think I rushed into it and I wasn't quite ready because I'm not able to A, B, C, D, right? Stop, have the conversation. And this is where both people, male and female, we have to be vulnerable to the emotions of the other person. We can't take offense. We have to be vulnerable. And see, these are the lessons of communication. And no matter what phase of the relationship that you're in, you have to communicate through it. So never stop communicating. Never stop thinking that, you know, well, just because I'm in the honeymoon phase, I can't talk about problems or issues because it's supposed to be the
Cloud
honeymoon phase.
nine.
No,
Right.
right. No, you talk to each other. You let each other know that, hey, I'm at a point. Or after the honeymoon phase, still communicate. We get into these fairy tale mentalities sometimes of thinking that, I don't know, once Cinderella puts on the shoe and runs away with Prince Charming,
Right. It's
every
happily ever after. Yeah.
it's happily ever after.
Right.
Disney has corrupted us.
Absolutely.
Like, stop it. Like, there are levels to this. And honestly, we need to normalize the levels, and we need to normalize the communication through the levels. We need to normalize fighting through issues. And that's where you get the 30-year marriages, where you hit a roadblock, you talk about it, you work through it. And then, after the hardship comes the ease. You experience that ease. Then you hit another roadblock and it's like, but you talk about it. The fact that you can communicate with the person that you've chosen, that is your sign that you've chosen the right one. It's not the fact that you don't have issues, or you don't have problems. I hate that he does this. Well, I talked to him about it. He changed it. We're good. Or she does this. I talked to her about it. We came to an understanding. We're good now. Not not this microwave relationship, this build-a-bay that we're in these days of, I wanted somebody like this. You're not living up to this. I'm gonna throw you away and go find somebody else. No, so the communication and the transparency with the feelings that we have during these roadblocks, those are what I call the gold brick moments as well. Brick moments in the relationship where you come face to face with times where other people would have walked away, but you guys chose to stay together.
Okay, listen, I got something for that. That is beautiful. That is beautiful because I think what happens is in a lot of marriages, just relationships, period, not just marriages, just people just end up breaking up because I think they don't communicate. Communication is important. I think I'm gonna go to song. Listen, so one of the best songs I think that was ever lyrically was ever written was Karen White, Superwoman. Early in the morning, I put breakfast on. And
Right.
then she says, only thing that's missing is the morning kiss that used to greet me. At the end of the song, she says, we don't talk the way we used to talk. It's hurting so deep. I think we get to that part in the relationship after a while, and it seems like, I mean, I feel her pain in that. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel her pain in that. Um, but what helped me get through it? Check me, check me. All right. So when I married my wife, right? Um, we agreed. Well, before in the courting stage, we agreed that we're going to talk you want to keep the line of communication open, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure, yeah, of course, yeah. We always talk with each other, yeah. But then she said, and regardless of how mad we are or the situation, we're going to hold hands while we talk. Hold hand. No.
That's a beautiful rule.
I was like, okay, all right, yeah, all right. So we in a marriage now. You know what I mean? And it got to a point where something happened, and we really had to discuss. I'm pissed off. Like I feel heat in me, right? And she was like, "Remember what we said?" And she's talking to me calmly. You know what I mean? It's not I'm not going to get into a shouting match with you. But she's talking to me calmly. And I'm like, man, I do not want to hold your hand right now. I do not want to hold your hand right now. Anyway, I end up sitting down, holding her hand. I can just feel anger just like subside. Oh, I'm still mad, but I can just feel the anger like subside. And we were able to talk about it. And I think that's a secret, man. I think that's one of the ways that that's how you can resolve conflict, and it helps you also keep the lines of communication open. You know what I mean?
Agreed. Agreed. And physical contact during confrontation, especially between two people that love each other, that definitely will refocus and recenter the priorities of why you're actually arguing. You don't argue with someone you don't care about.
Right.
You just don't. You go, okay, you say what you had to say, bye. You don't argue with someone you don't care about.
Right.
So the
Right.
fact
Right.
that you actually have enough emotion that you're sitting there arguing with the person, and then you have to hold their hand.
I'm not. Oof. Oof.
No,
But
it's
it
automatically going to
worked.
calm you down because you have to then center your feelings and come into the reasoning that I'm being overly emotional to the point where I can't communicate, but we love each other because we're holding hands. We're a team.
Right. Right. We're a team. Right.
This,
Yeah. And that's what it brought on. That's what it brought on. Like, you know what I mean? Like we're a team. We're gonna work through this. And alhamdulillah, we worked through it. But then you have, those relationships where there's no communication. You know,
true.
there's, there's anger. Both parties are mad, but nobody ain't talking to each other.
But and this is my question there. Once it reaches that point, that means the fundamental building blocks of communication have either never been laid properly or they were broken somehow. Because communication is at the heart of what we all want to do when we're feeling some kind of way. We want to be heard. We want to express ourselves. We want that person who is making us feel that way to understand why we feel that way, because we don't want to feel that way anymore. Right. So while we have this need to be heard, when we're in a relationship and we stop talking, something else broke. Something broke that line of communication. So it's not, I would think that, all right, if it's at the beginning of a marriage where you hit a roadblock during the honeymoon phase or right after the honeymoon phase, and you can't talk about it, it means that you rushed too quickly into the relationship. It's a dead ringer for you were so infatuated with how I looked and how you looked, like we talked about before. You didn't ask the right questions.
You didn't close your eyes, right?
You didn't close your eyes and learn me. So you don't feel comfortable with me, comfortable enough to express your feelings. And we don't understand each other's communication style at this point. It's still a rush. Whichever reason it is, it's still a rush. So then you have to go back and you have to start building communication skills. That's something that I believe men specifically mean when they tell a woman, I just want us to be friends first. And women just hear, oh, he just don't want to commit to me. I really feel like men are trying to say, I want to be able to talk to you. I want you to be my friend so that I can talk to you about all the things that will happen that I know I'm going to make you upset about. But I want to be able to talk to you to know that we're going to get past it, because that's what friends do. My sons, my boys, and they're older, they have friend spats all the time. And one thing I noticed is that Men can rah at each other. And then the next second, all right, dap it up and everything be
Mhm.
okay. All right, that was, whatever.
Mhm.
I think that's what I see when I see that. And then I hear a man say to a woman, I really want friendship with you too, also, included. I want that to be that's what I see it translate over to. They want a woman to where, yeah, we can be mad at each other and fuss and yell sometimes, but at the end of the day, you're still my homie. Like you're
Mhm.
still there. We can still talk and we'd be like, man, you was tripping. You shouldn't have said that. Yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have said that. That was wrong. And you can hold each other accountable without having that nagging presence that some women bring after the conversation of, well, remember, if a man says sorry, some women will hold that sorry as an excuse to attack. You see what I'm saying? And I'm
Mhm.
trying to explain it right to where if a man says, yeah, I shouldn't have said that, you're right. I got upset. I cussed. I shouldn't have cussed in the argument with you. I apologize.
Mhm.
Right. Then to be a friend would never then bring that back up later. Like, yeah, because you cussed at me during that argument.
Yeah.
That would never
That's
happen with friendship.
she has the power. It's like she has power now. Like
Right.
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 Gotcha.
And
Mhm.
as I'm reading the responses um, from a lot of the comments that I post online and from a lot of the conversations that I start online,
Mhm.
I asked a question recently about vulnerability. Okay, brothers, what is one aspect of vulnerability that you are excited to have when marriage, or you'll be happy to have when you're married, or
Mhm.
you're looking forward to have when you get married? And a lot of the comments came back like trust, accountability, friendship. I was like, whoa. Men want to be able to trust women. They can't wait. They're looking forward to a woman they can trust.
No,
They're
trust
looking
is huge.
forward. They're
Trust is
looking
huge,
forward to a
man.
woman
Yeah.
who can fulfill that and allow him to be vulnerable. So they're looking for that safe space to land, which was
Mhm.
very telling to me because I'm like, women walk around thinking men want to be hard. No, they want a woman to be soft with.
Mhm.
So if your
Mhm.
man is not soft with you, you have to put in the work to let him know this is a safe place for you.
Mhm.
So the communication is definitely important. The communication building skills, you should never run into a roadblock in a relationship where you feel like you can't talk.
It
You should
happens
never,
though.